Far away from the busy stars and crowded planets of the Galactic Union, a small research outpost floated silently in space. This place was at the edge of the Forbidden Zone, a part of the galaxy that no one dared to enter. For hundreds of years, the galaxy had whispered stories about this zone. It was called the Deathworld, and no one knew what still lived there. Captain Mira stood in the control room of the outpost. Her eyes were fixed on the screen that showed the empty blackness of space. Suddenly, the calm was broken by a strange signal. It was weak, filled with static and very urgent. "They are awake," the voice said. Then there was a scream, a burst of noise, and the signal ended. Mira's heart raced. The Forbidden Zone was supposed to be silent. No ships, no signals, just dark emptiness. But now, something was moving there. Something that had been asleep for a long time. Across the galaxy, leaders in the Galactic Union heard the news. They gathered in the Grand Council Hall, where the brightest minds and strongest leaders made decisions for all space. "We cannot ignore this," said High Commander Roan. "The Deathworlders are no myth. They are real. And if they have returned, the whole galaxy must prepare." The council argued for hours. Some wanted to send warships to destroy any threat before it could grow. Others wanted to send a small scout team to find out more and avoid war if possible. Meanwhile, deep in the Forbidden Zone, a black ship moved quietly through the stars. It was unlike any ship the galaxy had seen before. It had no markings, no flag, but it carried a symbol, an old symbol that had not been seen for centuries, the symbol of Earth. For generations, Earth had been called the Death World. It was the only planet where humans lived that no other species dared to visit. The surface of Earth was wild and dangerous. Its people had survived deadly storms, poisonous air, and strange creatures that could kill with one touch. But Earth's greatest power was its people. Humans were strong, fast, and smart. They had learned to fight and survive better than anyone else. Now they had returned. On the Black Ship's bridge, Commander Vera looked out at the stars. Her face was calm, but her eyes burned with fire. For years, she had prepared for this moment. The moment when Earth would no longer hide in the shadows. "We must remind the galaxy who we are," she said quietly. The ship sent a message to the Galactic Union. It was not a threat. It was a warning. "We remember what you did, and now you will too." When the message arrived, panic spread quickly. Ships scrambled to find the source, but the black ship moved faster and vanished again. Back at the research outpost, Mira watched. The signal again. She could not shake the feeling that something terrible was coming. The Deathworlders were no longer stories told to frighten children. They were here, watching, waiting. Kale, a young alien diplomat, listened to the news with a heavy heart. His father had fought in the wars that drove humans away from the galaxy. Kyle grew up hearing stories of Earth as a dangerous place that should never be trusted. But now, Kyle felt something new. Curiosity, fear, and a strange hope. He touched the pendant around his neck. Inside it was a small piece of human DNA, a secret his father had kept from him all his life. If Earth was back, Kale wondered what that meant for him, for his people, for the whole galaxy. That night, the stars above the Forbidden Zone seemed colder, darker. Something ancient had stirred. Something that could change everything, and the galaxy held its breath. The black ship moved like a shadow through Union space. No star charts showed its path. No communication codes matched its signal. It was a ghost. Union cruiser. Vigilant was sent to intercept. Captain Lyra stood on the bridge, her fingers tight on the controls. "We must stop that ship," she said. "We cannot let it go near any world." But when Vigilant tried to stop the black ship, something strange happened. Without a shot fired, the cruiser's systems shut down one by one. Engines, weapons, communication, all silent. Lyra's voice trembled. "What is happening? They've disabled us without firing." The black ship sent a small team aboard Vigilant. They wore dark uniforms, but their faces were not angry or cruel. They were calm, quiet, watching. The leader of the team was a woman. Her name was Commander Vera. She carried no weapon. Instead, she held a small device. Vera spoke softly, but with power. "We are not here to fight. We bring a message." She placed the device on the cruiser's table. It lit up, showing images and words. "Do not lie about history," the message said. Lyra stared at the device. The message shocked her. For years, the Union had told stories about Earth and its people, stories of how they were dangerous, stories that made the galaxy fear the Deathworld. But now, Vera showed proof. The Union had not only quarantined Earth, they had hunted and betrayed its people. Many humans believed dead were still alive, hidden. Far away in the Union capital, Kyle listened as reports came in. He felt his heart grow heavier. His father had fought in the purge against Earth, the wars that had tried to erase an entire people. Kale wondered, how much of what he knew was true? How much was a lie? When Vera's message reached the council again, a new fear grew. Some leaders wanted to destroy the Black Ship and its crew immediately. Others feared the truth. Kale was called to speak before the council. He was young, but his blood carried a secret. Inside him was a piece of human DNA, a gift from his father. Something no alien should have. As Kale stood before the council, he looked at the stars beyond the window. "We cannot hide from the past," he said. "The Deathworlders are here, and they have stories we need to hear." Some council members whispered angrily. Others nodded slowly. A war was no longer just about ships and weapons. It was about history, trust, and secrets buried deep. Back on the Black Ship, Vera watched the stars. "They are afraid," she said, quietly. "But soon they will have to face us and the truth." Suddenly, alarms blared. Sensors showed a fleet of Union warships moving fast. They had come to destroy the ship that should not exist. But Vera smiled. "Let them come." The Black Ship's engines roared to life. It was faster and stronger than anyone expected. The galaxy was holding its breath once more. The stars outside the Black Ship's windows stretched like silver threads through the endless dark. Commander Vera stood firm on the bridge. The cold hum of the engines filled the room, steady and strong. The fleet of Union warships was closing. Vast red warning lights blinked everywhere, casting sharp shadows on the faces of Vera's crew. None of them spoke. They only prepared. "Captain Vera," a young officer said quietly, "they're still trying to communicate, demanding we stop immediately or face destruction." Vera's eyes did not leave the stars. "Let them talk. We will not run. We will not hide." The Black Ship was a fortress, built to survive, to fight, to show the galaxy humans were not weak. Far away, the Union warships gathered in a tight formation. High Commander Roan stood on the bridge of the flagship Resolute. His face was grim. "They are back," Roan said, his voice low but full of anger. "And they dare challenge us. We will show them the price of rebellion." The fleet's weapons powered up, bright beams charging in the silence of space. Back on the Black Ship, Vera gave orders with calm authority. "Prepare shields. Ready? The pulse cannons. Stay sharp." Her crew moved quickly. The ship was alive with energy, ready to strike back. Suddenly, the Union fleet fired. Blinding beams of light tore through the dark, hitting the Black Ship's shields. For a moment, the shields flickered under the attack. The crew held their breath. Then, Vera smiled. "Return fire. Target the lead ship." The Black Ship's pulse cannons exploded with blue energy, slicing through the enemy's shields. The lead ship shook violently. The battle was brutal. Every shot was a fight for survival. Every move was a test of will. But then something strange happened. As the fighting raged, a strange signal appeared on the Union fleet's scanners, a signal they had never seen before. It was a pattern of pulses, like a heartbeat, coming from the Black Ship. The signal grew stronger, faster. Suddenly, the Black Ship's shield surged with new power. The Union weapons struggled to break through. "What is that?" Captain Lyra shouted from the Vigilant. "It's impossible," High Commander Roan growled. The Deathworlders have found a way to make their ship almost invincible. The battle shifted. The Union ships were forced to retreat, battered and confused. Vera's voice was steady over the comms. This is only the beginning. We will not be forgotten. The Deathworlders have returned to claim their place. Back in the council hall, whispers turned into loud debates. Kyle stood silently, watching the hollow images of the battle. His heart was pounding. This was more than a war. It was a challenge to everything the galaxy believed. Commander Vera is strong, he said to a nearby diplomat. But the Union will not fall without a fight. The diplomat nodded. This changes everything. The galaxy must choose, war or peace. Kale thought about his secret, the human DNA inside him. What if he could be a bridge between two worlds? That night, Vera walked alone in the ship's observation deck. The stars outside seemed colder but brighter than ever. She whispered to herself, "The galaxy fears us, but they will learn. The Deathworlders are not monsters. We are survivors." Suddenly, a shadow appeared behind her. "Commander," said a voice she trusted. "We have detected movement inside the Forbidden Zone, something large, something alive." Vera's eyes narrowed. It is time. The Deathworlders are waking. Outside, the galaxy waited, holding its breath, as a new chapter of history began. The black ship drifted silently near the edge of the Forbidden Zone. Commander Vera stood at the observation window, staring out at the swirling dark clouds of gas and dust. The zone was no longer empty. Something had moved, something ancient. The sensors aboard the ship beeped softly, picking up large energy signatures deep inside the death world. Vera's face grew serious. "The Guardians," she whispered. "They are waking." For centuries, legends had spoken of the ancient Guardians. Huge machines built long ago by a lost civilization, hidden beneath the death world's surface. No one knew if they were still active. But if the signals were true, they were alive and powerful. "Prepare an expedition team," Vera ordered. "We need to see if the legends are real." Her crew moved quickly, gathering gear and weapons for the dangerous mission. The Forbidden Zone was already a place of death and mystery. But now, it was about to reveal its deepest secret. On the surface of the death world, the air was thick and heavy. Strange storms twisted across the land, and the ground trembled beneath. The feet of the expedition team. Vera led the group, her eyes scanning the dark sky. "Stay alert. The Guardians do not welcome visitors." After hours of walking, they reached a massive stone door, covered with strange symbols glowing faintly blue. "Ancient technology," whispered Kale, who had joined the mission. His hand traced the symbols with awe. Suddenly, the ground shook, violently. The stone door began to move, sliding open with a sound like thunder. From the darkness inside, a deep hum echoed. Lights flickered on the walls, revealing huge machines taller than buildings with arms that could crush mountains. The Guardians had awakened. Vera stepped forward. "We come in peace, but if you attack, we will defend ourselves." A powerful energy field surrounded the machines. Then one of the Guardians moved, its eyes lit with bright light. It spoke, not in words, but in a sound that vibrated in the air. The team felt a strange calm wash over them. The Guardian's message was clear. "The Deathworlders return, we remember." Kale's mind raced. The Guardians were alive, but why? And why did they remember the humans? Suddenly, alarms sounded aboard the black ship. The Union fleet was returning, stronger and angrier. Vera sent a message to the expedition. "Return immediately. We have no time." The team hurried back, but the Guardians followed them. They moved with slow power, but with clear purpose. When the team reached the ship, the Union warships were waiting. Their weapons glowed bright, ready to fire. Vera made a decision. "We will show them the power of the Deathworlders." The Guardians rose behind the black ship, their massive bodies glowing with energy. The Union fleet hesitated. No one had seen the Guardians before. No one knew what they could do. Vera ordered her ship to advance. The Guardians moved forward, joining the fight. The battle became a war unlike any before. Union ships were destroyed by the Guardians' powerful beams. The Black Ship moved with speed and strength no one expected. On the Council planet, the leaders watched in shock. The Deathworlders had allies beyond imagination. Kale turned to the Council. "We must find a way to make peace," he said, "or the galaxy will burn." But the war was only beginning. In the darkness of space, the Guardians' eyes glowed like stars. Their message was clear to all who could see. The Deathworlders were back, and they were not alone. The stars seemed colder now, as if the entire galaxy held its breath. The battle between the Union fleet and the Deathworlders had changed everything. Ships lay destroyed in space, their wrecks drifting like ghosts. But the war was far from over. Commander Vera stood on the bridge of the Black Ship, her eyes heavy but determined. The Guardians, massive and silent, guarded their fleet, ready for whatever came next. Kyle sat quietly nearby, staring at the holomap of the galaxy. His mind was troubled. He thought about his father's stories, the lies he had been told and the truths he had never known. The Deathworlders were no longer just legends or enemies. They were survivors, fighting to be heard. Suddenly, an encrypted message arrived from an unknown source. The message was old, almost forgotten. A recording from Earth, the human homeworld, lost long ago. Vera watched the message with growing shock. The voice was that of a human woman, speaking in calm but desperate words. "We made mistakes," the woman said. "The galaxy was afraid of us, but we never wanted war. We wanted to live in peace." The message showed images of Earth, cities buried in ash, forests growing wild, people hiding in shadows. Vera turned to Kale. "This changes everything. We must share this with the galaxy." But the Union Council was divided. Some leaders wanted to use the message as proof to destroy the Deathworlders once and for all. Others feared the consequences of revealing the truth. Kale stood before the council again. "The humans have been fighting for centuries to survive," he said. "We cannot forget their pain. We must seek peace, not war." His words sparked heated arguments. But deep inside, many wondered if they had been wrong to fear the Deathworlders so much. Meanwhile, deep in the Deathworld, the Guardians rested, but remained alert. Their eyes glowed faintly as if waiting for the right moment to act. Vera and her crew worked tirelessly to repair their ship and strengthen their defenses. They knew the Union would return more powerful than before. One night, as Vera walked through the ship's corridors, she found Kale studying the stars. "Do you think peace is possible?" she asked softly. Kale sighed. "I want to believe it. But the past is heavy. The galaxy's fear runs deep." Suddenly, alarms blared. Sensors detected multiple fleets approaching. Not just Union ships, but unknown forces as well. Vera's voice was steady. "We face more than one enemy now. The galaxy is closing in." The Black Ship prepared for battle once more. The Guardians stirred, ready to defend their people. Vera looked out at the stars and whispered, "This war will decide the future, not just for humans, but for all who call the galaxy home." The galaxy was no longer just watching, it was waiting for the next move. The Black Ship's corridors were quiet but tense. Commander Vera paced back and forth, thinking about the battle ahead. The Guardians were awake and strong, but so were their enemies. The galaxy was closing in and trust was thin. Kale stood nearby looking troubled. He had just returned from a secret meeting with some Union diplomats who wanted peace. But something didn't feel right. "We can't trust them," Kale said quietly. "Not all of them want peace. Some want to use this war to gain more power." Vera stopped and looked at him. "Do you have proof?" Kale shook his head. "Not yet, but I'm working on it." Suddenly, an urgent message flashed on the ship's main screen. It was from the Guardians, alerting of a breach inside the ship. Someone was trying to sabotage them from within. Vera's heart pounded. Lock down the ship. Find the traitor. Her crew moved fast. Doors sealed. Alarms echoed. The black ship became a cage with a dangerous secret inside. Vera and Kale led the search, checking every corner, every room. The crew's eyes were full of suspicion. Whispers grew louder. No one knew who to trust. In the dark engine room, Vera found a hidden device, a small transmitter sending secret signals outside. It was a spy. Suddenly, the lights flickered. The ship shook. The Guardian's power began to fail. The traitor had activated a virus inside the ship's system. Vera's voice was sharp. We need to isolate the virus before it destroys us. Kyle worked with the engineers trying to stop the attack. But the virus was clever. It spread fast. Meanwhile, the Union fleet was closing in again, their weapons charged and ready. The galaxy waited to see if the Deathworlders would survive. In the command room, Vera looked at the crew. We face two enemies, outside and inside, but we will not fall. Suddenly, one of the crew members, a trusted officer named Soren, stood up. His face was pale. I'm the traitor, he said quietly. I did this to save my family. The Union promised safety if I helped. Shock filled the room. Vera stared at him. You betrayed us. You risked everyone's lives. Soren lowered his head. I had no choice. Kyle stepped forward. There is always a choice, Soren. You chose fear over loyalty. Vera nodded. We will deal with you later. Now help us fix the ship. Soren agreed, guilt clear in his eyes. The crew worked together, fighting the virus inside the ship while preparing for the battle outside. Hours passed. The virus was contained, but the damage was done. The Guardians' shields were weaker, the ship slower. The Union fleet attacked. Blinding beams lit up the darkness of space. The black ship rocked under the assault. Vera's voice was steady. Return fire. Protect the Guardians. The Guardians rose, glowing bright and fierce. Their powerful weapons fired, pushing back the Union ships. But the fight was brutal. The black ship's systems struggled. Crew members fell. The air was thick with tension and fear. In the chaos, Kale found a moment with Vera. This war will test everything we believe, he said. Trust, strength, hope. Vera's eyes burned with fire. And we will show the galaxy what it means to be Deathworlders. As the battle raged, the traitors' actions reminded them all of the cost of fear and the price of survival. The galaxy was watching, and the Deathworlders were ready to fight, not just for themselves, but for the future of all. The black ship floated in the vast silence after the storm of battle. The stars twinkled cold and distant, but the air inside the ship was heavy with exhaustion and hope. Commander Vera stood on the bridge, her eyes fixed on the flickering stars. The Guardians, battered but still glowing, hovered around them like silent protectors. The Union fleet had retreated for now, but everyone knew this was not the end. It was only the calm before the next storm. Kale came to her side, his face tired, but determined. They will come back, he said quietly. Vera nodded. So will we. We must be ready. The crew gathered in the main hall where Vera addressed them. Her voice was steady, strong. We have faced betrayal, war, and loss, but we have also found strength and hope. The Guardians awakened because we refused to give up. The galaxy knows we are here, and soon they will have to listen. Her words stirred the crew. Many faces glowed with renewed courage. Suddenly, an unexpected message came through the ship's communication system. It was from the Union Council, a request for a peace meeting. Vera and Kyle exchanged surprised glances. Must be cautious, Vera said, but this might be our chance. The meeting was set on a neutral space station far from the Death World and Union territories. When Vera and Kale arrived, they found a tense room filled with leaders and soldiers from many worlds. The air buzzed with suspicion and hope. The Union leader, a sharp-eyed woman named Lyra, spoke first. We have fought for too long. The galaxy is changing, and so must we. Vera listened carefully. The Deathworlders want peace too, but it must be real peace and not just words. Lyra nodded. Agreed. We need to find a way to live together, or we all lose. The talks were difficult. Old wounds opened, fears surfaced, and voices rose. But slowly, the two sides began to understand each other's pain and hopes. Kale shared stories of the Deathworlders' survival and the Guardians' awakening. The Union leaders listened, surprised by the depth of history they never knew. Vera spoke with quiet power. We are not enemies by choice. We are survivors, like you. We want to build a future where our children do not live in fear. After days of tense negotiations, an agreement was reached. A fragile truce to end the war and open the path to peace. As Vera and Kale returned to their ship, the Guardians glowed softly beside them, a symbol of new beginnings. In the days that followed, the galaxy watched closely. The war had changed many minds. The Deathworlders were no longer just a threat. They were a part of the galaxy's future. Vera stood once more at the observation window. The stars seemed brighter now. We survived the worst, she said. Now, we will build the best. Kyle smiled. Together. The black ship sailed forward into a new dawn, the start of hope, unity, and a future written by all. The galaxy had changed. The war between the Deathworlders and the Union had ended, but the story was far from over. Now, a new challenge began, building trust and unity across countless stars and worlds. Commander Vera stood on the deck of the black ship, watching the endless sky. The Guardians glowed gently around her, silent but powerful. Their strength was a reminder of what they had survived and what they still needed to protect. Kale joined her, holding a small data pad. The galaxy is responding, he said. Many worlds want to join the new alliance. Vera smiled softly. It won't be easy. There is still fear, anger, but also hope. Together, they had started something bigger than war. They had started a movement, a chance for all species, no matter how different, to live in peace. The new alliance meetings were filled with voices from hundreds of planets. Some spoke of fear, others of hope. Old enemies sat side by side, trying to build bridges, but peace was fragile. Hidden threats lurked in dark corners of the galaxy. Pirates, warlords, and secret enemies watched carefully, waiting for a chance to strike. One evening, as Vera and Kale reviewed reports in the command room, an alert flashed red. Unidentified. Fleet approaching fast, the communications officer said. They are armed and moving toward the Alliance headquarters. Vera's face hardened. Prepare defenses. This could be the test of our new peace. The crew worked quickly, readying ships and weapons. The Guardians stirred, their light growing brighter, a silent warning to any attacker. The enemy fleet came into view. Strange ships with no markings, fast and deadly. They attacked without warning. The battle was fierce. The Alliance ships fought to protect their home. The Guardians joined the fight, their power overwhelming and terrifying. Vera commanded with calm strength. Hold the line. Protect the Alliance. Kale coordinated the defense, sending ships where they were needed most. As the fight raged, a small shuttle broke through the chaos and landed on the Alliance station. From it stepped a lone figure, a messenger from a forgotten world. She carried a warning. The galaxy's peace is fragile. Dark forces are rising beyond the edges of known space. We must unite or fall. The Alliance leaders listened carefully. The message was clear. The war had ended, but a greater threat was coming. Vera looked at Kale. Our fight is just beginning. Kale nodded. But now we fight together. The galaxy held its breath once more, not in fear, but in hope. Together, Deathworlders, Union, and all the stars beyond prepared for the future. A new dawn had come. The galaxy's story was just beginning.